Scrooge stopped in front of Marley such that the old partners were almost nose to nose. Marley panicked that he may be required to start the process of salvation here and now, but Scrooge showed not one inkling of detecting his partner's presence, but simply turned to the door of the tavern and went inside. Scrooge. Of all the sinners in the world, why pick Scrooge for salvation? And why Marley to the agent of it? Well, there was nothing for it. Marley determined he would refuse this commission. Damn the ghost, and damn Scrooge as well. Marley would not be compelled. What would happen if he refused? Nothing. No torment was worse than the one he was currently engaged in. Ha! A fig for your commissions, my good sir, he thought, and he was about to walk off when he heard another voice. Jacob Marley? Do we have a Jacob Marley here? It was a voice that was obviously used to getting an answer when it called, but he was blowed if he would answer. How is it, he thought, that one could go through 7 years of your demise without taking as much as a by your leave from even one single solitary other ghost, and then all in one night you could be possibly thick with them? Well, enough was enough. He was not at home to any more visitations, though they be from the very ghost of Caesar himself. Jacob Marley. The voice was now more annoyed than insistent. Marley made to go, but found that he could not. The chains around him had pulled taut. He looked around and found a young lady. She was pale of face and looked no more than 18. Her dusky blue dress was ragged and wild, as was her hair. Gorse and heather were intertwined in that hair, and her feet were bare and covered in mud, as was the hem of her dress. The only jewellery she wore was a locket around her neck, yet, for all her untamed appearance, she gave off an air of someone at last in control of herself after many a year of abandon. She held Marley's chain tightly in one hand. He felt something of what it must feel like to be a dog, for, try as he might, he could not pull himself from her grip. And just where do you think you're going? She said to him. Madam, kindly unhand me, said Marley in return. Luke, I've got no time to be playing silly beggars with you. I take it I do have the pleasure of Mr. Marley's company. You have, he said, and the young lady dropped the chain. Grand, she said, and clicked her fingers. A Mason reservoir pen appeared in one hand, a clipboard in the other. Shall we to business, she said, and made a little mark on the paper. The word business intrigued Marley. Perhaps there would be a profit in this situation for him. Indeed, young lady, he said. I have business. What business is that, pray? The young woman snorted a sharp little laugh. Mankind, Marley. Mankind's your business. Specifically, that nasty little corner of humanity known as Ebenezer Scrooge. If that's quite convenient, sir. It is most definitely not convenient, said Marley. He thought he had the measure of this woman. No doubt you'll consider yourself ill-used should I refuse this commission. Oh, no, she said. Nothing would give me greater pleasure than to leave you to your fate. But I'm charged with making sure you perform your duty tonight. As she spoke, she made another mark. Duty? Yes, duty. Are you puddled, sir? She said. She sighed and put down the clipboard by her side and jammed the pen into her tousled hair. You made an oath to help save the soul of one Ebenezer Scrooge this night, did you not? Tell me, said Marley, is there still a hell? There is, said the young lady with caution. And Hades, demanded Marley, is that still in operation? It is, returned the lady. I wish I could say it was not. Tartarus and Purgatory, both in full vigour then, said Marley. Both very busy, sir. Oh, I was afraid from what you said at first that something had stopped them in their useful course, said Marley. I'm very glad to hear it. Then you wish to do your little part to save your friend from the fire, she said. Oh, I wish to be left alone, said Marley. Since you ask me what I wish, madam, that's my answer. I do not have the luxury of my own guardian angel, and I do not see why I should be employed to keep those who are most fitted for the all-consuming fire from those very flames. From what I understand, they're hot enough, and those who are bad enough must go there. Many do go there, sir, and many pray for the chance of release. If they would be released, said Marley, they'd better think on that during their lifetime, and decrease the surplus population of hell that way, rather than relied on other damned souls as brokers. Good afternoon, madam. I say, good afternoon. Very well, as you'd have it, said the woman, and she stuck an index finger straight up into the air. Very slowly, she started to describe a circle with its tip. Marley could not fathom what the woman was about. It was then that the black line came spiralling down towards him. There was no doubt as to what it was. Another vast and crippling chain. No! He cried, but it slammed down around poor Marley's shoulders and brought him to his knees. The young lady ghost blew on the end of a finger with self-satisfaction. That'll be me off then, she said, gaily, and started to dematerialise. Half suffocated in the all-encompassing coils, Marley panicked. If she left now, he'd be pinned to the spot for forever. Wait! Wait! He shouted. She paused in her dissipation. Something amiss, she said. Get this chain off me, Marley protested. It's not mine! Get it off me! The woman swam back into view. Oh, but it is, she said. You broke your oath. Don't want to help that sinner? Fine. Then wear his chain for him instead. No skin off my nose, but word to the wise. Here she leaned close to Marley's ear, which only just poked out from the chains. That lad is a bad piece of work indeed, she said. Adds link upon link to that chain every day, he does. Likely he'll live a good long time yet. It's a good friend who'll bear all that sin for another. A stupid friend, to be sure, but a good one just the same. I will not bear Ebenezer's chain as well as my own. But unless you keep your oath. Marley, businessman to the end, tried to fall back on contract law, of which, during his life, he'd been a wicked exponent. Where was this written? He said. I will not agree to this. There was no contract. No contract? No small print, no. I'll say there wasn't. But this is how it is, Mr. Jacob Marley. Whether you like it or not, lad, that's life. No shortcuts, no loopholes, no wrinkles. Just the stuff we have to get through or go under. For all she was small, she certainly had presence. So, Mr. Marley, no more playing about. Your last chance. Are you going to honour your oath? Or are you going to wear that chain and more into the rest of eternity? Marley was trapped. He couldn't bear all these chains as well as his own, but the prospect of turning Scrooge from the path of sin, he was not sure anyone could do that. I'll do it, he said after a moment. It was a weak and pathetic little sound. Well, bless the Lord for small mercy, she said, and then clicked her fingers. The extra chains disappeared from Marley's shoulders. He stumbled and felt the woman's eyes upon him and quickly gathered himself. Ugh. She regarded him with an ironical air. You all right, she said. Marley straightened his waistcoat and puffed out his chest. Let it be known that I'm only participating in this charade under he began, but she turned away. Right then, follow me. And she walked a little way down the street. Where? Said Marley. She stopped walking and looked back at him. A spark of humour entered her eye. Marley wasn't sure he liked the look of that. There was madness and obsession behind that look. Backstage, she said, and put her hand out onto what seemed like empty air. For a moment nothing happened, and then the fog behind her fingers seemed to hinge and move. It formed a perfect doorway. Beyond it, Marley could still see the rest of the street. After you, the young lady said, and seeing no harm in it, Marley gathered up his chains and stepped through the fog door.